Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator weather forecast. Today I'm going to be covering the weather for October 26th of 2023. Currently, we have a marginal threat for Texas here. Uh, yesterday's um yesterday's marginal threat was more further towards central Texas. However, we are expected to see a much smaller marginal threat closer to the coast, but still further inland. Also, something about yesterday's forecast is that it was made, it was produced, and it was ready to be released. However, it it wasn't published yesterday because of YouTube. I closed out the tab while it was still uploading, so it didn't upload yesterday. So I'm sorry about the lack of a forecast yesterday. However, as for the threats for today, we are expected to see a 2% tornado threat for that marginal threat area, as well as a 5% wind threat, but we aren't really expected to see all that much of a hail threat. But then let's take a look at our future outlook. We are expected to see a very large area where we could see some general thunderstorms and some rain showers from the southern central plains into the Midwest and the Ohio River Valley. However, we currently don't really have an area for some organized severe thunderstorms. However, things are expected to change between now and then, so we may get a location added by tomorrow. And the same goes for our day 3 outlook. We don't really have a threat for severe thunderstorms that is currently issued for our day 3 outlook, but we could see some general thunderstorms and some rain showers. But again, things are going to change between now and then, so we may have a location added by the time this rolls around. But as of right now, there isn't really a location that you really have to watch out for. Taking a look at our WPC outlooks, focusing on our excessive rainfall outlook, you can see that we currently have two areas that we are expected to be watching for flash flooding. We are expected to see a slight risk for that marginal threat area across Texas, as well as another slight risk for Wisconsin into Michigan. So those are the primary areas that we're going to be watching for flash flooding for today. As for our day 2 outlook for excessive rainfall, we have a slight risk for Texas back into Oklahoma and Arkansas. And for our day 3 outlook, we have a slight risk extending back into Oklahoma, into Arkansas, southern Missouri, and into Illinois, parts of Kentucky, and Tennessee. But then let's take a look at our winter weather outlook. Taking a look at our day 1 outlook for snow, we are expected to see some snowfall for North Dakota into parts of Minnesota for today. However, for our day 2 outlook, we aren't really expected to see all that much of a threat for snow compared to the last couple of days. However, we are still expected to see snow with some weaker snow showers back towards Nebraska and South Dakota, with a little bit more better snow showers and snowstorms back towards southern Wyoming into Colorado. And then for our day 3 outlook, we are expected to see snow that is going to be mostly isolated to Colorado. Taking a look at our weather models, starting off with our 500 millibars like we usually do. Taking a look at our marginal threat for Texas, our trough that we've been tracking the last couple of days is all the way up here now in the Midwest and Central Plains. However, we are still expected to see some remnants on the backside of that trough that should support some severe thunderstorms across Texas, as well as some of the leftover rain showers from the storms that we saw across Texas yesterday. And we should also see some leftover directional shear to support the threat of one or two brief tornadoes with some of the severe thunderstorms that we are expected to see down here for today. And then we should also see the threat for some damaging winds down here as well. Taking a look at our dew points, focusing on the marginal threat for Texas, you can see we are expected to see a ton of moisture for the marginal threat area out of the Gulf of Mexico. We are expected to see dew points are going to be getting into the mid 70s and possibly getting close to those upper 70s. So with the crazy amount of moisture that we are expected to see just pouring out of the Gulf of Mexico, that should definitely give us a ton of instability across Texas and should really be able to fuel and support our severe thunderstorms across Texas for today. Taking a look at our temperature, focusing on the marginal threat area, with those dew points are going to be in the 70s, we are expected to see temperatures that are going to be getting into the 80s, but getting into those mid 70s in some locations. So our dew points are not really all that close to all to our temperatures. However, in some locations they could be getting pretty close, and that could be leading to a little bit more better instability concentrated in some smaller areas. But then let's take a look at our widespread temperatures. Primarily this cold front that we've been focusing on over the last couple of days. This cold front is leading to temperatures widespread across Montana into North Dakota, South Dakota. Wyoming, as well as into Nebraska, as well as Idaho. Uh, Overall, for the entirety of Montana, we are expected to see temperatures that are going to be getting below freezing. And some models were indicating, yeah, these models are indicating that we could even get temperatures that could get into the negatives in some locations of Montana, as well as Wyoming. So we are expected to see extremely cold air back behind that cold front. This cold front is a very, very powerful cold front, and this cold front should continue to push eastward over the next couple of days into next week, and lead to much, much colder air. Um, uh, Floating eastward over the next couple of days. Overall, the progression of this cold front is expected to be a little bit more so towards the northern half of the U.S. and leave the south kind of warm. It shouldn't really impact the south all that directly, and should lead to a little bit more warmer air. So that's something that you could either be looking forward to or not be looking forward to if you live in the south. Um, but it's going to be getting much colder because of this cold front over the next couple of days. Taking a look at our instability, focusing on the marginal threat for Texas. As I was mentioning, we are expecting to see Cape values that could be getting a little bit more higher compared to some other areas in this marginal threat. With Cape values are going to be ranging significantly, where they could be getting into the triple digits and getting as high as the 2000s, the mid 2000s. However, this may also be because of some ongoing storms in this model scan, which could be leading to some lower instability in some locations. So please correct me if I am wrong about what I said about the correlation between temperatures and dew points. Please correct me in the comments so I can correct it in the next video. However, as I was mentioning, we are expecting to see some stronger, some better instability in some areas that could be getting into the 2000s and getting as low as the triple digits. This is going to be fairly strong, though, however, and should definitely be able to fuel and support our threat for one or two brief tornadoes across this region with some of the thunderstorms, as well as a threat for damaging winds in this location as well. Taking a look at our energy helicity index, focusing on our 2% tornado threat for Texas, we are expected to see energy helicity index readings that are going to be fairly weak, but also indicative of a 2% tornado threat. Overall, a low end threat for tornadoes, but the threat for tornadoes is still there. And you can see even outside of the 2% tornado threat, we are expected to see some energy helicity index readings outside of that tornado threat, like closer around towards the coast and further west. Um, so even if it's outside the tornado threat, outside of the severe weather development zone, it just goes to show that the atmosphere is definitely prime and ready for tornadic development. So the threat for tornadoes is going to exist for this marginal threat for Texas. Taking a look at our total snowfall accumulation, focusing on the area where we are expected to see snowfall for today. You can see our snowfall is going to be mainly concentrated in this blue circle, anywhere from eastern Minnesota, Montana, into parts of Wyoming, mainly in northern South Dakota as well as North Dakota, as well as parts of northern Minnesota, as well as back up into Canada. In North Dakota, we could see total snowfall accumulation anywhere from 4 inches up to possibly even 5 and 6 inches further towards the east, and then a little bit lesser snow accumulation back towards Montana into Idaho, Wyoming, and even down into Colorado, where we could see anywhere from anywhere from 1 inch to less than an inch. But overall, our snowfall is going to be mostly concentrated back towards North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, as well as Minnesota. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. If you live in any of the areas that I covered for today, please stay weather alert for the time being, and hopefully I'll be able to see you guys tomorrow with another forecast.